Hello and welcome to another jungle video, and in this one we are going to be talking about how you can take over games as an assassin. And when I say that, I mean it in the very context that sometimes you will be behind early game, you will be behind in the mid game. Other times you might just simply have a great early pathing, a great mechanical play that lets you get a strong lead and then, snowball to victory. And if your jungler fits the description of an assassin, whatever that might be, you will be able to use those principles in this video, but I'm going to use Rengar because his win rate is as sad as it's ever been. However, the One Tricks and the Supreme Alpha Cat players are still having success at the highest tiers of rank. So if you have questions about how to position, play, team fight, path, and control games as an assassin jungler, this video will hopefully provide you some insight. However, as junglers, we obviously enjoy trees, and so Maokai has a message.
Hello, me and my saplings are here to tell you about a way that you too can fight for the jungle, for the trees, for the Maokai. Displate was kind enough to send Virkayu a package filled with glorious purpose. Displates are a one-of-a-kind metal poster that are created on 21st century canvas that's magnet mounted and designed to capture your soul's passions. They can even be stared at longer than you're currently staring at my leaves. Customize and collect your displays with ease to set up artworks that will awaken your habitable space, unlike mine, which is being destroyed by laners all over Runeterra and Earth. As part of the Forest Garden project, for every display sold, 1 tree will be planted, and so far 14 million trees have seen life return to them through Displate. Along with branding partnerships such as Star Wars, Marvel, and NASA, you can find whatever passions you desire for your walls, as well as to see my personal recommendations by clicking the link in the description below for up to 37% discount. Save the trees.
Right, and what better way to show you a Rengar game than to have Scrub Noob carry a bunch of people that don't want to win. At the same time, he also has to snowball pathing early, and because the game swings back into the other team's favor, he will then have to basically make a play and show you how to position in order to get the 25 kill bomb and close the game out. And while I was introducing that, you would have seen the runes pop up on your screen, you would have seen that Diana place an early ward on the red buff. Not really much of a surprise, we know Rengar is most likely going to want to start there. You wait in the bush waiting for the red buff to spawn, avoiding any nonsense at level 1, and then Gwen begrudgingly gives the leash while Diana gets one on the other side of the map. Now obviously the Rengar control ward strategy is absolutely standard at this stage, gives you a nice little leap to the Krugs, and first clear efficiency really is absolutely vital. Now yes, Diana gets a ward early on the Rengar's red, so she knows he started there. Janna gets a really nice ward on the Diana's Raptors. This means that Rengar will see the Diana on the Raptors, knowing full well if she's going to go to the mid lane to gank afterwards, or if she's going to kite up for a full clear going to the top side. Most of the time, in the old school meta of Season 11, you'd see Rengar pathing downwards, they both do a full clear, they look for the crabs. Boring. And if you're an assassin who's just waiting to win, waiting to turn online, it's not the right mindset. Yes, obviously by default we can do those things and then look for action afterwards, but if you ever get positioning as an assassin jungler where you can perhaps make a play, maybe not your Evelynns, but your Kha'Zixes and Rengars for sure, use that pathing, out-mind game them, and set traps. Now, what I don't always agree with in terms of certain strategies and high elo plays is not getting that scanner early, because if you do what the Rengar does, and as you can see it's warded by the Yasuo, his bright new ponytail skin is revealed to all. Now yes, of course that trinket is great for bush jumping, fights, and getting vision when you wouldn't have any, and giving Rengar enhanced mobility in those early skirmishes. Now just remember there is a downside. However, Rengar's idea here is, okay, Diana's gonna full sequence to the blue side, I'm gonna wait in the bush and set a trap. I know what's going to happen. Here's the thing, Akshan has total priority in the top lane. Yasuo and Lee Sin, they're not interested. They're gonna fist each other mid lane. They are really not concerned in terms of rotation. Now Akshan commits the most half-hearted rotation I've ever seen in my life. Gwen decides she's gonna have to bait this out by full suiciding into the Diana and the Akshan. And now you see Scrub Noob's Rengar mechanics on full flourish. Uses a very late bush jumping angle knowing he can full well make that. He places a trinket ward knowing that she's going to flash back over the wall, and then he can simply bush jump out of that onto her again. And of course you're seeing Scrub Noob and many other Rengars go for exhaust and ignite instead of actually going for flash, which means you can look to make these plays and that warding trinket really comes in handy. So throughout the game, look at when he uses the exhaust in those close fights. Now of course you can go ahead and steal the Diana's blue. You might be thinking, okay, it's very obvious at this stage that Diana's going to know that Rengar is taking the blue of the grub, he's going to get the crab. What I can do is go straight out of base, take the other side crab, and in a way just reverse vertical. The thing is, if you allow the Diana to get away with that, and in your elos your laners might not rotate either, then the whole trap and lead you've basically secured just goes out of the window. So what you do is you recognize that your bottom lane has already died one time, Syndra's going back to base, she has TP. Because Janna has already died and been back to base recently, she's not going to want to go back to base once again. She will roam and use that tempo advantage. So what you can do, as you're seeing, the Diana decides, you know what, I'm going to cut off the Janna, assuming Rengar's going to take my whole top side, But all big brain aggressive alpha junglers know you need aggressive strategies, you need aggressive pathings. take the topside crab, ignore the grump, cut across the mid lane, save your Janna from immediate death, and now you take the bottom scuttle as well. If you were passive and you decided, I'm going to do the grump, and be honest, a lot of you might have tried to do the grump, you lose this opportunity. And because the Janna was in an awkward position on the mid lane, you leave your bottom lane open to a 2v1 if you don't rotate to save her life. So the point of me highlighting all of this is that your pathing as a jungler, even if you're not directly impacting a lane through a gank, your pressure and your rotations can truly save your laners' lives. Imagine if the Diana even just pushes the Janna off to go back to base with the Lee Sin. All of a sudden, Syndra just TP to the bottom lane into a pushing wave. She's 2v1, Diana gets the bottom crab, and all of a sudden 3 people are trying to kill your Syndra and she just doesn't have enough balls to deal with them. However, because you're a great jungler, you didn't let this happen. So what you can do is do your full blue side. You know that Diana out of base will focus her tier 2 camps, the Krugs and the Raptors, because those have the most value for her. Now you could in theory go back to base, however, we kind of want to look for that second buff red invade, and we want to look for that dragon. So what we're going to do here is instead of basing and forcing ourselves to go to the top side of the map, we're going to go to the Raptors and then the Krugs. You would have noticed Akshan TP to the bottom lane, got some kills for the blue side, and you would have noticed very briefly that Diana was seen crossing the mid lane, so we know she's sequencing upside as well. In addition to all of this, it also gives you some protection over the Diana counter jungling your top side camps, and if any sort of fiesta play happens and you need to rotate just to be there and assist, you can do so as well. Bear in mind, with this kind of extended sequence though, you have not spent gold and many other champions already have. And as I say that, the Diana holds top lane and then the Gwen dies anyway. I don't know how. She showed up on the map, it's kind of obvious what she's doing, and the Rengar sword, which means I sword, which means you hopefully sword, and it should have been avoidable. Now this is the part about carrying as an assassin I mentioned. Your team might end, your team might be useless, but if you make the right pathing and the right reads, not only will you get fed early so you can do whatever you want, you will also have the objective control and the ability to shut down the enemy jungler, which you're about to observe. Yasuo goes top side to kill the Gwen again, who knows why. Rengar says, okay, I guess that's a free dragon. He takes it. Lee Sin seems to be a competent player at this stage, sees that the red buff is spawning, recognizes the situation, kicks Diana towards the knife cat, and he enjoys himself some yummy food, which is what I call the wet food I give my cats in the morning. Now maybe the blue side bottom lane was trying to cut them off and rotate, but it's kind of a dumb rotation because Diana's long dead, and for some reason the Tomcats and the Ziggs get caught in what we call a laner gap situation, at least from Diana's perspective. As Rengar does the blue side, you can consider that yes, he is playing way better than everyone else in the game. But you can somewhat understand why Diana is frustrated because she shouldn't be in this situation whatsoever with the amount of top lane prior she had at level 3. But come on, what do you think a Rengar Lee Sin are gonna do when the red buff shows on the map that it's spawning and the Rengar just did the dragon? Just go take Rengar's red, it's a better time, trust me. Now after all of this good stuff, I'm assuming most of you as Rengar players or any assassin would just full clear, maybe go back to base, right? Yeah, don't do that. What you want to do is cut the map, and I've been talking a lot about this in coaching sessions and on the gameplay channel. It's where you expect either jungler to full sequence, but instead of doing so and going in the same direction as them, you cut through the river and look to do an objective, counter jungle, or gank before falling back to that other quadrant. This can be before you get to the other side of the map or afterwards. In this situation, you know the next objective on the map is the herald, is a topside crab, and is Diana's blue buff. Now again, I would have made the map big, you would have seen that Diana pathing from her Krugs to the top side. Again, she didn't cut the map, she didn't reverse the pathing direction, it's predictable, and it should always be punished. And if they're doing this in high elo, they're doing it in silver, they're doing it in diamond, they're doing it in gold. You walk in, you exert some patience, you say, this is going to be my blue buff. Just wait for her to pull it, you have vision of this, walk in, Q smite it, easy. Obviously, you were also waiting for the cooldown on your ultimate, and now you can force an all-out fight in the top side jungle here, which is good and fine. As an assassin jungler, please use your leads. This is more specifically your Rengar and Kha'Zix kind of playstyle, but I need to see it more often. Way too many times assassins are fed, yet they are passive. You use the brushes, you use your buttons, you use your face, and all of a sudden you have a triple kill. I'm underselling it a little bit, but back in Season 4, that was Ryan Choi's advice to us all as Rengar players. He said, just see the people you want to kill, and then smash the button. Now here you could argue for a Rift Herald, and in most cases I think you can actually get away and go for it. You have a lot of gold stashed up as well, there's no shame in taking it and going back to base. However, the alternative thinking is, you know what, I'm gonna do my Krugs and Raptors in full sequence down. If you can cut the map again before your sequence is finished, please do so and just react to the action on the map. Remember, you're in an extended sequence now, but because you haven't gone back to base, you're able to be places where the enemies don't expect you. Like Diana having no other choice but to gank mid lane, maybe getting something, but then you kill her anyway because your ult is up again. You can then push the wave, absorb some experience, finish your blue side and go back to base. The pro of this is you get really, really strong. He's going back with 4,500 gold. He can rush the Essence Reaver, get a Warhammer, he's got another long sword just for good measure, and now you can head directly to the dragon. Just remember, these kinds of plays will leave you at a deficit in terms of objectives. Most of the time, the enemy jungler will at least get one of those because you decided to focus on farming and kills. And in games where that herald was taken, if you go back to base as the dragon spawns, yes, you get itemization spikes, as we talked about in the Carthos video on the gameplay channel. You might also end up losing the dragon when your teammates are not exactly competent and the enemy team are rotating properly. Now obviously you get to take her red buff, you get to take the dragon, Diana takes the herald, they goon squad top lane. I'm not too much of a fan of, giving 5 plates to a team that you should be destroying that don't deserve 5 plates. Really, this Diana's pathing is abysmal and she does not deserve it. And that was 5 plates even without using the herald. As such, I think the overall better play was taking the herald, maybe rinsing your red side. And if you wanted to stay out the same way that he did, or maybe forego doing the blue side before basing, that was also an option. So you did have choices available to you, and that's what we want, right? If you are doing the right things early game, by the time the game hits 12 minutes, 30 minutes, you're beginning to enter that mid-game phase, you really have a lot of options available to you just because you're so fat, you have so much control, and really you are the win condition. But fresh off of juicing himself with everything the map has to offer, Rengar goes looking for a hunt. And again, this is what you should be doing. Make sure you're getting those crabs. Make sure the enemy blue buff, when it spawns, you are contesting it. But now you go for those invades, and yes, you're able to make picks. Yes, you're able to steal blue buffs and camps. But the enemy team are just going to group up and use their team fighting, use a herald here to get another 5 plates in the mid lane, plus another hit on the interior tower afterwards. And that's why I value the herald very much. Because even though Rengar does kill the Akshan, and even though the enemy team seemingly have nowhere to go, they have the gold lead. And now Diana gets to counter jungle your camps, which is dumb. Rengar tries to make something happen here, but unfortunately everyone else on the team, yeah, they're nowhere near as fed. And so basically, even though you have control as an assassin, you do run the risk with this playstyle of having these throw moments. But don't worry, the game isn't over and we're still gonna carry this. 15 kills to go. Now, if you find this happening to you in your games as an assassin, you get fed and then you throw, this could be one of the reasons why. Secondly, if it does happen, just simply recognize it, say, my bad, maybe I could have done something differently, but you're still in control. Do a nice full sequence, enjoy the fruits of, a bit of downtime, no objectives to fight over. If you do see people out of position, use your altar probe, only commit if you know you can position well using the bush jump. Use your Ebola to guarantee a jump out of a bush to make sure the Tom Kench dies. The W does a disgusting amount of healing, I love that ability so much, and now you live. You forced the right fight at the right moment, killed a target, were able to get out, Gwen gets pressured topside. If you have an item spike, make sure you go back to base right away, there's a dragon spawning. If you don't, finish whatever camps are on the blue side. Indulge yourself in maybe some Duskblade Rengar action, that's always fun. Now head directly to the objective. At this stage, remember, you are the most fed person in the game, you must secure the objective. Exhaust is available, use it, slow him down, kill him, prevent their damage, and take the dragon. That's 3 dragons and you're in control. Now 100% after this is where people fail. They go back to base, they go back to the jungle, they get safe. You stop that right now. Walk into their jungle, take all their stuff, lay the wards, wait for the trap. Wait in bushes. You're an assassin, there's nothing else to do right now. Someone will grieve for CS, and when they do, there you go. And another one, and another one, and another one. Now you can push mid, try and counter jungle some more and reset. At this stage, the enemy team might feel like as an overall unit, they might have the benefit of the doubt, and they can actually go for a 20-minute Baron. This cannot be allowed. Now obviously, pay very close attention to what the enemy's doing in terms of clumping. Make sure if they turn and you have the window to jump into the pit, you can, but don't necessarily just go headfirst into a Lulu clump and die. Rengar bides his time, waits for the team to turn on his team, basically sacrifices them, yoinks the Baron for himself, decides to clean up a few kills that may or not be straggling around, pushes the wave. Diana tries to save face and basically has her ego bruised for the next 10 years. Although at this point, I'm not sure she can spell ego. And now it's very much a same state of affairs. Walk into the jungle, make the picks when you can. And the thing about Rengar, Kha'Zix, and so on is that when the enemy team is this desperate against you and you happen to be this fed, any minute moment when they're out of position is a free kill for you. And as long as you pull that trigger correctly and play the game appropriately, you're gonna find yourself avoiding those team fights where you think, what do I do as an assassin? I'm down 2 levels. Why are you down 2 levels? Don't be. The goal should always be to be ahead. And even in those games when you know you're losing, if you look at the gold graphs of many Rengar games, the games are just in a losing state till he really comes online. So as long as you're not making those stupid plays like Diana did, you should be able to find yourself in a situation just like this Rengar, getting the Mountain Soul and shoving it down mid to end. So I hope you enjoyed that talk about pathing tendencies as an assassin, the need to snowball, how you can position to basically accentuate that lead, as well as the possibilities of throws if you don't exactly do the right thing in the right moment. As always, the enemy jungler does play a factor into how you play, but if they're making these mistakes in high elo, as long as you do the same things and have the right tendencies, you will be able to punish the mistakes of whatever junglers you're facing. Also, how good is that Rengar skin and how good is Rengar as a champion? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you were able to enjoy and learn something. Please do like, share, and comment if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well as the gameplay channel, and there will be a third channel focusing on weights, beards, and whatever else might come to mind very soon. That'll be linked as well. Keep your beards fresh and your jungling fresher, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.